I'm Austin. I will be recording Caleb's persuasive speech.
Guns. They play such a big part in our lives, so of course the government wants to control them just like everything else. I think since the Constitution gave us our right to own guns, the government shouldn't be able to take it away. Many politicians basically want to get rid of guns because of school shootings and other incidents, but personally, I don't think this is the way it should be handled. If people knew how to use guns and were safe with them, and it would be more around schools, less problems would happen in schools because of the threat that if you tried to pull a gun, a teacher could pull a gun right back at you. I will tell you about many reasons that guns shouldn't be as controlled. A 1994 survey conducted by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention found that Americans use guns to frighten away intruders who are breaking into their homes about 500,000 times per year. I found that fact on cdc.gov. The 9 European nations with the lowest rate of gun ownership have a combined murder rate that is just 3 times greater than the 9 European nations with the highest rate of gun ownership. That I found on justfacts.com. So basically that is saying if a country has a lot more guns, their gun rate or their death rate is a lot lower due to guns. Personally, I am really related to gun control because I'm an avid hunter for myself and also my whole family is. Growing up in a small town, almost everyone hunts. So my dad found it was very important to make sure my whole family goes through gun safety and knows how to handle guns safely if they run into one. Also, I love to hunt and shoot trap, so guns are a big part of my life. Many people think that guns are horrible and need to be taken away, but I think the opposite is true, which I will explain by talking to you about why we should have gun rights, how guns affect our daily lives, and how difficult it would be to stop people from getting guns. So hopefully you will go out and defend your right to bear arms. My first point is going to be about how people get guns. Some people think guns need to be very hard to get, and if you get one, you need to have a major background check. They also think that private sellers should be unable to sell guns, so you have to buy through public sellers, which can be regulated a lot more by the government. Major background checks are needed in order to get a gun. That should take at least a week, is what some people think. My view is that regulations are needed, but not so it takes 2 weeks to get a gun. Where you can get guns at many places, such as just at Gander Mountain or at Cabela's, or if you go to a local gun show, you can also get a gun. The local gun show would be considered a private seller, which I think needs to be able to do business instead of being shut out by big public sellers. It helps a lot to keep gun prices down for the average person, so they don't have to go out and spend $1,000 just to get a basic gun. Background checks also, I think, take way too long. A background check today can take about a half an hour, which isn't very bad, but they aren't accurate. What I think is a new system for background checks is needed, where you can go in, they can basically see your license, and you can get a background check within 5 minutes, and it will be right on of whether you have committed any crimes recently or any other violent acts. My second point is why guns are needed and their uses. Some people think that guns should not be used by the public because all they do is give people weapons to kill each other with. They also think that many suicides and homicides are caused by people who have guns. If more guns are sold, more are around for crazy people to use on a murder spree. And over 50% of people use a gun as a weapon for suicide. My view is that guns are a great source of fun and are a way to get out with family, plus are a good defense from criminals. Guns are used for many reasons, such as hunting, which is a very popular sport, and trap shooting, which has even become very popular in schools. It's a great way for people who don't do other sports to actually be involved with school sports and be able to do different things. The number of assaults and gun murders committed by a gun, armed robberies, have decreased to the lowest since 2001, which this chart talks about. It basically talks about how gun murders, gun robbery, and gun suicides have all dropped since the gun ownership rate has gone up, along with the U.S. gun manufacturing. My third point is the advantages of less gun control and letting people have guns. Many people think that guns shouldn't be allowed to be sold. Guns get sold to the wrong people who shouldn't get guns because of background checks weren't right, and the amount of people who are killed has increased with the sale of guns. My view is that getting more guns out to people will reduce the amounts of deaths of innocent people who are trying to attack others, and reduce the overall amount of crime. Many studies have found that the increase in guns sold has reduced the amount of people who try and attack others because of the chance that the victim had a gun. Another point is that the ideas that teachers had a gun with them, or a person had a gun with them in their house, has turned many violent situations where somebody could have been shot into almost nothing because the person gets chickens out and doesn't want to end up dead. Hopefully, you have enjoyed me telling you about how people get guns, why guns are needed, and their uses, and the advantages of less gun control and letting people have guns. So, if you want to protect yourself, have fun, or put food on the table, you should be for less gun control. Even though guns are a very dangerous thing, they can be very useful and helpful. So go out and get yourself a gun today, and fight for your freedom to bear arms.